All right, it's 3 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. All right, first, Kyle, do we have proof of notice and quorum?
Yes, we have had proof of notice and a quorum is clearly established. We're good to go.
Okay, great. How about, does anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes from February 21st? Any second? Rick, second. All in favor? Okay, first we have the general manager's report from Kyle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, with the season heading for warmer weather and closing down, we have several projects we'll be working on this summer. In May, we'll be doing the pressure cleaning of the Westborg wall all the way down where it's been cleared. We'll be pressure cleaning that, and we will also be pressure cleaning the front exterior brick paver wall will be cleaned as well on that. Various other summer projects are underway. As a matter of fact, we are looking at some serious needed spa repairs. We've had the leak detectors come on in today, and it looks like we're going to have we have a return pipe that we believe is broken, so we need to be digging up in the spa and doing some serious repiping in for the spa area. So that's going to be underway this summer as well, as quickly as possible, honestly, as soon as we can get the quotes in from contractors to be able to do that work. That has kind of popped up in the past week or so as far as that is concerned. Food and beverage operations update, obviously yesterday, very pleased. We had a great Easter celebration here at the club. Roughly about 200 members were in attendance with family for the Easter, so hats off to the team for a great send-off on the Easter. When it comes to the hours of operation, May 1st, we will only be serving dinner on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights like we did last summer. We'll be offering, the bar staff and Laura have put together drink specials on a daily basis. The 7 days will be open for lunch. Currently, right now, we'll continue to stay open with the $7.95 buffet on Mondays through the month of May, and see how the business goes and whether or not we have enough business for that. But it'll be the $7.95 buffet with the salad and hot dogs and miscellaneous stuff that we have, since the golf course basically is enclosed any day of the week like other clubs normally do. So we'll go ahead and try that. And then on Tuesdays, we're doing the Taco Tuesdays, things of that nature. And then we have discount prices. For example, on Tuesday, we'll do 2-for-1 margaritas, which the ladies tend to enjoy. Mondays, we're going to do 2-for-1 on all the well drinks and house wine and draft beer during the afternoon. Wednesdays, we're going to be doing 2-for-1 on beer bottles or draft domestic beer. And then on Thursdays, we're going to do 2-for-1 on a glass of wine. Fridays, we'll do 2-for-1 all well drinks. Saturdays, because it's a heavy men's day, we'll do 2-for-1 on all draft beers, bottles, and pitchers on Saturdays to drive everybody in to enjoy lunch. And on Sundays during lunch, we'll do $5 mimosa or Bloody Marys as part of the specials that we'll be doing all the way through the course of the summer to help continue to drive business for us. Fitness center generator update. As the board is aware, the generator is in. The transfer switch has already been installed. We are just waiting for Collier County to generate the permit so that we can commence. We've already met with Ball Gas and the contractor as it relates, and as soon as the permit is issued by Collier County, we'll go ahead and commence that work. It should all be done once we get the permit within a day or two of the permit coming in. So that's kind of going very nicely as far as that's concerned. It'll be certainly in well before hurricane season there's any threats from our hurricane season. So that's very good news to hear. Casino night update, April 30th, that is confirmed. It's a good function for the club. We're doing a pasta night with salad bar. That's priced at $38 per person that Kiwanis will be paying for us, and then, of course, the bar receipts as well. Membership is more than happy to buy tickets from Kiwanis, and we'll be sending out, I just got an updated flyer from the Kiwanis today, and we'll be sending that out to the membership, though there is information that's already out to the membership as we speak right now. On summer membership has sold out. It was capped at 70 summer memberships, and summer membership commenced today. The golf course was probably busier today because the summer membership has kicked in. So that program is in full swing. We turned away probably 6 or 7 that got in too late, but they plan on being much quicker next year as far as that program is concerned. And obviously, during the budget aspect, we'll decide whether or not we want to move into a single and a family membership per our discussions at the Finance Board workshop that took place on whether or not we should be raising those fees. But with the demand as high as it looks like there certainly is room to go ahead and do that. Let's see, what else do I have? The electrical for the washers for the cart barn, that is going in tomorrow. The plumbing will then commence. A different crew comes in to do the plumbing, but the electrical connections will all go in for the washer and dryer for the cart barn, so we can establish the towel service for the carts, and we'll certainly purchase the towels as far as that's concerned versus renting them and doing all that type of stuff. And then final but not least, our new assistant golf pro, Wyatt Taylor, is starting next week. And Wyatt joins us from Kelly Greens Golf and Country Club and from Bonita National, where he was there for a few years. He's working on getting his Class A certification, and we anticipate, as part of our program with him, that he needs to attain that goal by November. And we expect him to have his Class A by that time. A wonderful, wonderful young man, very well spoken. As some of you know, his references were just absolutely outstanding. A board member that I spoke over at Bonita National said, well, if Wyatt is coming to Royalwood, then maybe my wife and I need to sell and move to Royalwood. That's how much we appreciate Wyatt. So I think we're in great shape with that. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Is his name Taylor or Turner?
Wyatt Turner, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have director's comments and discussions. So is there anything that the board would like to speak about that is not on the agenda for today?
Yes, can I just ask a couple of follow-up questions, please? Thank you for the report, Kyle. Just a couple of questions I had to clarify things. On the food and beverage operations, you mentioned Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is only open for dinner.
Correct.
Could you clarify what the actual hours of the clubhouse will be?
So typically we serve dinner until 8 o'clock at night. Typically, we don't have anybody coming in past 7:30. So basically what happens is the clubhouse, basically the bar is open until 9 o'clock, unless it vacates on a Wednesday or Thursday night and everybody's gone. So they play it by ear. I have spoken to the staff about in season, about on a Friday night when we're busy and functions and things like that, that you cannot go home, just because, the band has stopped playing. The entertainment on Friday nights, Laura always has the option to extend the overtime on Friday nights if we have a very, very good crowd, and I have no problem doing that. And I tell the entertainers, and Joe Marino, who does all of our booking, understands that that's not a problem. Because for the entertainer, it's not a problem to stay an extra half an hour or another hour, because they bill us for it, which is fine.
And what about the other days, other than Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Typically we'll close at 3 o'clock for lunch service. And historically, the reason is by 3 o'clock, because of the way the summer weather patterns are, the clubhouse and the golf shop in the parking lot is literally a ghost town. Everybody gets in to play in the morning, they come in for lunch, and they're gone. If that trend changes, then we'll certainly change our trend. But it's very, very, very quiet after 3 o'clock.
And regarding casino night, what is the projected net profit that you're expecting on that?
I'm sorry?
What is the projected net profit that you're expecting from casino night?
Well, for us, at $38 a head, so if you get 125 on a pasta night, then you're talking about actually a very, very strong night for our, for our food costs. We'll probably run a 30% food cost on that. And then, of course, you figure that we'll probably do in gross receipts on that particular night, probably close to $6,000 in gross receipts. And it's the buffet stations, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be a strong, good financial night for the club as well as for the staff as well.
But is that $2,000 or $3,000?
I would say, yeah, I would say that you're probably taking on a night like that, we're probably taking home a 50% house profit.
Thank you.
Sure. Go ahead, Jim. Sure.
Yes.
On the spa area repiping, isn't this a new spa and new pool?
No, sir. No. No, what we did, he's asking about whether or not that was all done during the renovation. No, that was not done. The only thing that was done on the spa was a new pump, but the piping was never replaced, and the inside of the spa was refinished and resurfaced. But it was never dug out to do any of that work, and that's necessary to go ahead and do that.
So what kind of money are you talking?
Don't know. This is hot off the press with leak detectors who we called in, and they're putting together some estimates, but we're probably talking easily a couple of $1,000s worth of work. Easily. Easily a couple of $1,000s worth of work. Couple of thousand, easy. I mean, the spa, for all intents and purposes, it's the original spa and original piping.
Kyle, are we having the walls washed and all the pressure switching, washing done in-house, or are we subbing it out?
I'm getting a quote for subbing that out, but it's not impossible for us to do it in-house. So I'm just doing that out of curiosity, because a lot of the pressure cleaning that we do it in-house, other than the sidewalks and the gutters. The sidewalks and gutters.
Probably is going to be done at least a couple times a year.
Well, right now, we have sidewalks budgeted on an annual basis to be done every year, late fall. Okay, so going forward, if we felt that we wanted to go ahead and do that, then we would have to make that accommodation within the budget to say, okay, we want it done at least twice a year.
The wall and stuff, yeah, that will
Right.
hold right back up over the summer.
It's correct, and I'm hoping with a professional company that can do that, they can also treat it as well to, for lack of a better word, to retard the mold growth so that maybe it only needs to be done on an annual basis, but I agree.
Right, any other comments from anybody on the board? Because I have a couple. In the past couple of board meetings, we've had Robert St. Francis request that we have a independent audit done of Project 2.0. And what I'd like to do is make a recommendation to the board. I'll read it. As requested by Robert St. Francis on multiple occasions, management will acquire 2 estimates from competent organizations to perform a post-construction audit relating to the work done to complete Project 2.0. In addition to these costs will be estimates to also include any in-house expenses, as well as legal expense and the cost of our project manager, and any other expenditures to complete this audit. After acquiring the estimated costs, a vote would go out to the membership to complete this project. Any funds that will be necessary to do this audit will have to be funded by a special assessment by the membership. This vote to proceed would have to be approved by a majority of the members. So that's my recommendation. Anybody concur? Yes.
When I proposed this in an email, Kyle and you mentioned
This isn't a vote to do anything. This is just a discussion. And what we would do is we would ask management, just to look into obtaining estimates from two different companies.
So the way this would work is that staff will go on out and assemble and get quotes prepared based upon the criteria that is established, okay? And then from that point, it'll go to the board for its consideration. And at that time, the board would take a vote, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm basically just doing the due diligence, to do that. But with that being said, let me remind the board that when Project 2.0 started, the board of directors hired a owner's representative to represent the club in its best interest as it relates to the project and keep an eye out for us. So we basically had three major contractors on the project. We had the general contractor, and we had the architect, and then we had our civil engineering firm, Grady Minor. We're basically the three players that did any and all of the billing that was out there. So when draw requests came in, they all went to Keith, who was the owner's representative at the time, and Keith reviewed MHK billing, and he reviewed the general contractor's billing per the terms of the outline contract. Grady Minor was very easy because they were just an hourly rate, and he would bill us in 1.5 hours for this and 1.5 hours for that, and met with county staff or whatever it might be. So that was all reviewed and signed off on by Keith per the terms of the contract, and I'll give you an example. In the MHK contract, after the drawings were basically completed and accepted by the county and the permit was issued, their contract basically ended. And then we moved on to an hourly rate program for the architect on work that we needed to have done, and revisions and whatever it might be. So the first draw comes in from MHK. Keith reviews that first draw request, and we immediately realized that the billable rates that were in the contract that we signed with them are not the billable rates that they started applying to the work. Okay, and that was immediately discovered by our owner's rep. And immediately, MHK didn't know how that occurred, but they immediately reflected the contractual hourly rates that were being established, okay? So we caught it right off that. And that's one of the reasons why, that you hire an owner's rep who's basically representing your best interest in making sure the contract details are being lived out. So when it came to the Kern & Young, the general contractor, they would put in their draw request, and the draw request would go weighted against what the terms of the contract were on how much draw they could be taking at the various stages of the project that were completed. So Keith would compare that draw request based upon what was outlined in the contract and what phase they were at and what actual work had been done, plumbing, electrical, and stuff like that. Well, on quite a few occasions, they had overestimated that sub work was going to be farther advanced than, so they included that in their draw request. Well, the fact of the matter is that work had not been completed yet, but Kern & Young didn't update their draw request, or I should say draw it down to reflect actual. That was Keith, who sat with Bruce, the partner, and said, well, this hasn't been done, this hasn't been done, this hasn't been done. You're still 2 weeks away from that. That needs to be removed from the draw request, okay, and then resubmitted after completion. And that's the role that Keith played on that. So, so I just wanted you to be aware of that, as well as the members of the audience on that process.
Dennis, I replied to your email when you sent this out earlier this afternoon, and many of you have not seen it yet. My own opinion here is we shouldn't throw our good money and staff time away chasing any recoveries that we may not be able to get. But I do understand the community's concerns regarding transparency about the project shortfalls and some of the overruns we had. I guess we could let the membership decide this. I wouldn't have a problem with that. but I don't think it would pass. And I want to remind everybody here on the board, whatever that the Facilities Planning Committee comes up with here on their assessment of the Project 2.0 shortfalls that we want to correct, like the atrium, the sliding doors, the soundproofing, that's going to be probably an assessment as well. So I'm not assessment crazy for members of the club. But let's say this audit cost us $100,000 with all the associated fees of our attorneys, staff time, and the auditors. That would come out to $125 a door per member to conduct this. So that's my opinion on it.
Well, that's up to the membership to decide. Correct.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Jamshid? I didn't hear that. Yes, and I agree with that as well, and there's additional costs that we need to be aware of. And Kyle, when we do seek quotes from these reputable firms, I think we have to ask them what kind of staff time is going to be required to perform the audit as well. My experience is you still need to have staff time devoted to do pulling records and so forth. So we need to be transparent on all of those costs so the membership can make an informed decision there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you all are aware of the amount of time that Debbie prepares for getting just the annual audit together for RSM. She spends hours and hours and hours and hours doing that, so I agree with you.
Okay, I have one other topic to discuss, and that would be the updating some of the ARC rules. And what I'd like to do is modify some of the rules in the application, have it state that in the event a project begins that would be required to have ARC approval but has not been applied for and approved, then a fine will be imposed against the negligent party for every week that the project continues without the approval of an ARC. A fine of $100 will be charged up to a maximum of $500. Next, on the hedge rule, there's a hedge rule of 6 feet high that we have, and I'd like to modify that to 8 feet for any hedge that abuts the clubhouse parcel here, and that's for, you know, people trying to protect them from headlights and various things that go on, golf carts and things like that. Give them a little more protection just on this parcel that the clubhouse sits on. The height restriction will not apply to any masterboard common area because we have hedges out there on the golf course, like going down the 11th hole. Those hedges, we want them more than 8 feet high to protect us, protect Naples Estates and other things, like we have hedges that are up against the maintenance barn, the walls up there, and it's, I think it's a little more aesthetic to look at the hedges as opposed to a concrete wall. So it would not apply to any of the masterboard common area. And the last thing is on the ARC approval sheets, it currently calls for a signature of the president or vice president of the masterboard. And I'd like to change that to have it read that any masterboard officer or director can sign off on those.
After an owner pays the $500 and he still continues with the project, what are the consequences?
The consequences would be that we could demand that whatever they're doing, they could reverse it if it's not approved. We could demand that they take out everything that they did. Good question. I don't think it's ever happened, so we'll find out when we get there, and that would be probably, unless Billy has an answer, maybe. Okay, any questions to the updating the ARC rules? If not, we'll go on to committee reports. First committee is Golf and Greens. Jimmy?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim McEachran, chairperson of the Golf and Greens. We had a very busy season, just wrapping up. First of all, Kevin Ackerman, his report, there's going to be some closures to the golf courses on May 5th and the 12th for aeration, approaches to the tees, fairways. Also, July 7th and 11th, they're going to be dry ejecting all the greens. All those dates are on a Thursdays. So upcoming is May 5th and May 12th. On golf operations, Greg Long, you already heard he just hired a new assistant, Wayne Turner. He was from Kelly Greens and Benita National. Great young man, be a great addition. And he knows computers too, so that will be a big help. I'll give you a few statistics that Greg like to share with you, how busy this golf course is. In 2021, there were 30,725 18-hole rounds of golf. 9 holes were 8,908, and walking was 808. Right now, we're on the course to go above that. So you can do the numbers. That's a lot of income coming in, but I'm not at the liberty to say, and I don't want to make a mistake of how much income. I'll defer that to the board. The summer membership started April 18th, and it goes to December 31st. And you're already aware, in 2021, we had 67, and now we're maxed out at 70 members. Also, there was a new tournament this year on Sunday, April 10th, the Masters event. This was brought up by Kyle LaBelle and myself with Greg Long and Kyle Kenny, the GM, and we kind of put it together a little fast a couple weeks before, but we had a great turnout. We had 98 players. It was a co-ed scramble. It was a 8 o'clock shotgun, and everyone had a great time. There was a little twist to it. After each foursome had a handicap, 15% of the total, but each foursome was assigned a pro from the Masters. So the top 25 pros ending on Saturday, the pro was then assigned to their group. So no one knew who won the tournament until the end of the Masters. The winner of the tournament was, I think, Rick Murphy. He made a few dollars. He had Rory McIlroy. All right, so that was a good deal. Next on the agenda, Appreciation Day was well received. It was the net profit on Appreciation Day. Net profit this year was $8,729. With the rollover, we have a little over $18,000 in the kitty. We have been getting suggestions of where to spend the money. As everyone knows, or maybe you don't know, the last time, the year before, we spent $10,000 out of the Appreciation Day Fund for the atrium blinds. So we have been taking suggestions. I'll just read a few off to you. These came from members here. But we're not going to be making any decisions till the future meeting. That will be in November. But more bistro tables in the atrium, electric car charging station in Royal Wood, a tall clock that tells time on both sides, a wall unit blow dryer to be installed in the ladies' room in the clubhouse, awnings on the outside to cover the patio, blinds in the dining room, more tables in the grill room, matching outdoor tables and chairs, leaderboard outside a pro shop, and it goes on and on and on. But any suggestions, you can email me. Also, Sue Fontaine, she's the vice chair of the committee. Okay. So my next part is the 18-hole ladies. 95 members. But what I'm going to do now is give some recognition, if I can find it, to the ladies 18. Had a very busy season, a lot of tournaments. But the ladies were represented by Gina Murphy, president, Mindy Norbaum, vice president, Kathleen McEachran, secretary, Robin Murphy, treasurer, Margie Morales, tournament chairperson, Terry Looker, handicap chairperson, Beth Keenan, rules chairperson, and Kathy Reed, media past president. One thing about the ladies, they put a lot of charity work, and they raised a lot of money for local charities, and I believe I stated that in my past presentations. The 9-hole ladies, they had 129 members, and their board was Patty LaBelle was the president, Patty Lincoln vice president, and she will be the new president. Jennifer Rainhammer was the secretary, Chris Bagley, treasurer, Jana Feely, rules chairperson, Gail Chan, social chairperson, Pat Badar, handicap honors, Christy Copeland, tournament chairperson, and Christy Arnold, invitational chairperson. And the last of the committee, the men's 18. The men's 18 members had 204 members. Danny Jones, president, Mike Autonomous. Mike put in, he's retired 9 years of being the president. Dave Duncan, vice president, secretary, Lee Keenan, treasurer, Steve Groves, rules chairperson, Ryan Smith, tournament chairperson, and Bob Mitchell, past president. So I think all these people put a lot of hard work this past season, so a little round of applause for all these hard-working people. Let's see. Okay. In ending for the season, I just want to recognize my Golf and Greens Committee. We had 5 meetings. We had a meeting last November, January, February, March, and we just had a meeting a few weeks ago. Sue Fontaine, vice chairperson, secretary, Gina Murphy, Patty LaBelle, Dan Jones, Jim Rickett, Larry Palmer, Greg Long, Kevin Ackerman, Kyle Kenny, and Gary Norbaum was on the Golf and Greens Committee. So a little shout out to them. All right. Okay. So in ending, I want to wish everyone a great summer, safe travels, and we'll see you down here at the beautiful Royal Wood Golf Course in the fall. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have Health and Safety. Elaine?
Good afternoon, everyone. The single-family homeowners representative, Mark Spadola, reported that he spoke with a homeowner that had been robbed last season. When she had the police come to investigate, they asked if we had cameras at our exits. They told her that it would be helpful in identifying the perpetrators. I recalled that the topic had been discussed at a master board meeting previously. At the November 7th, 2019 master board meeting, it was stated that cameras were still on the docket and $18,000 had been set aside for the project. The Health and Safety Committee would like to look at the pros and cons of installing cameras. While the addition of cameras might bring peace of mind to some, there are valid reasons not to install them in the neighborhood. I found an article online that is very informative on the negative aspects of installing neighborhood cameras. If you're interested, I would be happy to share the information with you. Since the topic of installing cameras in Royal Wood has been discussed over the years, it might be beneficial to look at the information and make a decision one way or the other. Pam Bethena reported that since the end of March, the volume of traffic on Royal Wood Boulevard has decreased by 3,300 vehicles. At the November 15th, 2021 Master Board meeting, Kyle proposed to have an area outside designated for cigar smokers. He referred to the current location for cigarette smokers. There was a unanimous vote by the Master Board against cigar smoking on the Royal Wood campus. This does not include the golf course area. Since that time, an individual reported that on 3 occasions she encountered cigar smoking. On one time, in a crowded staging area for golf carts for a shotgun start. As you all know, this is a very congested area with many people. The Health and Safety Committee proposes that in lieu of more signs throughout the campus, that management send email flyers to the community stating the ban on cigar smoking. Royal Wood residents have to remind their guests of this rule. Also, the wait staff should not be responsible for enforcing this rule. This should be the responsibility of management. The problem with exiting the clubhouse pool has been resolved with the addition of a lock release to be used only in cases of an emergency. There have been occasions that glass bottles and drinkware have been left in the clubhouse pool area. Please do not bring glass of any kind to the pool area. New railings have been installed on both sides of the gullies in the parking lot, which should prevent any further accidents. On Monday, April 11th, we had a seminar on ID theft and fraud, sponsored by the Collier County Sheriff's Office. It was very informative and well received by everyone. There were 40 attendees. Next season, we will plan on continuing the seminars. This was not part of my original report to the Master Board, but I think it's important information to share. At our health and safety meeting last Thursday, Brenda Kurtzstetter told us that the fire department has a special non-emergency number to call. It is called Lift Assist. This is for situations where someone has fallen at home and they cannot get up. I have had experiences like this at home and had to call my brothers to help me with my husband. Now that the season is ending, I won't be able to depend on them. Knowing that this service is available gives me peace of mind. The telephone number for Lift Assist is 239-252-9300. That's 239-252-9300. It's been a very busy year with many safety additions to Royal Wood. We hope that we have responded to your comments and complaints in a satisfactory and timely manner. For those of you that are leaving, have a wonderful and safe summer until we see you again. Those of us that stay on in Royal Wood will enjoy the reprieve from traffic and shorter lines at Costco. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Next, we have the ARC Committee. Billy?
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Lindley, Chairman of the Art Committee. Dennis has already covered a couple of the issues that we had been working on over the last couple of months as far as people performing work without their permits. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Thank you for addressing that. The two things I have to report, we do have two properties currently under serious review. One is a deficiency where they did exactly what was brought up at your meeting, a major amount of work, structures, and major changes to landscaping without any ARC permit. Some of these changes actually violate Collier County's regulations. For those who are not aware, 80% of your landscaping turf in your yards must be remaining as grass. You can't rip everything up in your yards and mulch it and do whatever you want with it. That's a Collier County regulation, and you can look it up. I'll get you the number if you want it. So anybody who thinks that they just want to turn it into somewhat like an Arizona desert type of thing with a bunch of mulch and bushes, you're violating Collier County's regulations, in addition to the fact that we probably would not authorize a plan like that. The second one, we have a property that's been a problem for as long as I've been on this board, and it doesn't seem to get any better. It's an issue where it's just a continual maintenance neglect type of program, and I've written a letter, and I do think between the homeowners now being involved in part of that maintenance process and the master board, we will have to once again approach this project in the manner that we discussed, where we may have to go in and do that work ourselves and bill it to the property. And because it's basically a negligent owner that's never here, besides all the other issues, like he's never physically here. So we do have that problem. The only other thing I'd like to bring up, just to let you know, I'm not sure it's an ARC issue, but there's a drain curbing on Westburg Drive, Kyle, that, you know, how the curbing goes and then the water's supposed to go down the drain, and there's like the big manhole cover. There's the entire facing of that curbing is missing, and it's a massive hole, and it could become a serious injury if for either a pet or a person getting too close to falling down that. It's right past Moody's house, between his house and that forest. It's on the right-hand side there, but somebody should take a quick look at that.
So I'll add that to the list, because I'm trying to get somebody in Collier County to give me a straight answer on who is responsible for the storm drainage system. The roads are private, as we very well know, owned and maintained by Royalwood. But the storm sewage system is owned by Collier County. Collier County regulates the water levels in the lake and the release and all of that. So I'm hoping I can get something now this week. If not, I'm going to ask for our county commissioner to offer some assistance on that. But I will add that to the list, because I believe that's number 3.
Okay, and the only other issue I have received, I continually receive requests to replace driveways. And we don't have a problem with you replacing the driveway, but we do require a diagram stating, okay, this is exactly what we're replacing in our driveway with concrete brick and things like that. If it's going to be replaced as is, like the actual driveway that it currently is, then draw that out for us. Give us, it's 20 feet wide, it's 25 feet long, because we don't want to get into some issues that we've had in the past over that. So I've got a couple of those here that I'll have to be returning to people that'll be upset because they get returned, but we do have to have diagrams for driveway replacements so we know exactly what they're putting in. And other than that, have a good summer, and I'll see you in the fall, I guess. Oh, sorry, just one more thing, and that has come up too. many people are cutting down trees in their properties, and one gentleman said he sent me a thing from his tree cutting company that stated that they didn't need a permit in a residential environment, a residential lot. But in the case, I went and researched it, and in actual fact, you do need a permit because your residential lot is part of what we call the PUD. So it's not like an individual lot up and down a street on a road somewhere. It's part of the Royalwood PUD, and therefore, to cut down a tree, you do need to get a permit from Collier County. So be careful about that, because we have had some finding issues, particularly down in some of the condo areas. So it's just to let you know.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, next we have Facilities Planning Committee. Mike?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'd like to update everyone on where we are with the Facilities Planning Committee. I hope everyone knows that our top priority projects we've identified. It's the clubhouse building acoustics, pickleball availability or additional pickleball, outdoor seating / atrium, and now retractable wall options. Our goal for these projects, the subcommittees for each of these projects have been working really, really hard and have come up with some great information and some great options, I think, for the community. And so our main goal now is to really get a survey put together. And our goal is to have a survey sent out to the entire Royalwood community by the 1st of May that will outline what we've been working on, will give the community options, and also that will include some cost information so that you'll know which options are more expensive than another option. And we're really looking forward to get to that point, because right now, we really don't want to put much more time into some of these things unless we're sure that everyone here wants these things done and want us to put in more effort to work in putting together more budget figures and getting together real quotes to get this work done. And so it makes no sense for us to spend our time when not everyone here will see the advantage of having this stuff done. And so these surveys go out. I ask everyone, please, if you get it, take a few moments and look at it and fill it out and get it back, because the surveys will dictate what we do going forward, and it will dictate what the community wants. And so, again, it's just the way it works here. Some people will want certain things, and, of course, others might not. But I guess it will be the majority wins out in some of these things. We will move forward with engineering, design, and construction costs to present to the Board of Directors for their approval. And then from there, I'm sure we'll have a detailed presentation for the community to think about approval for funding for moving forward. And so that's where we are right now with the planning facility on our top priorities. We do have other projects that we're working on. I'll just throw these out to you so you'll know what we're doing. But the first thing is better utilization of meeting rooms 1 and 2. General improvement of the existing outdoor patio areas, enhanced flooring options, ceiling fans, additional seating if possible. So we're trying to see if we can't make those areas a little bit nicer than what they currently are. We're looking at the clubhouse sound system. But we're going to review it to make sure that we have the correct sound system. We're going to make sure that we're using the sound system correctly. And then we're also going to look at getting additional or better quality microphones. I hope, can everyone hear me today with this? I know that sometimes it's tough to understand the Board of Directors through those microphones. And so we're looking into that, as well as setting up a Zoom meeting capabilities for this room, so that as we go forward, we can have board meetings and everyone can get in on them on Zoom, whether it's a board meeting or other meetings. And so that's what we're working on as far as the IT part of the building. And then also updating or remodeling the sand trap meeting room to hopefully optimize the use of that particular room. And so, as everyone knows, we're limited to the amount of space that we have here. What we have is beautiful. We love what we have, but it really comes down to utilizing the space correctly. And I think that's really our biggest task. And when you look at a lot of the stuff that we're working on, it really comes down to that, is going forward, how do you take the best advantage of what we have so that it just gets better and better every year. And we can do that without having to get a bigger and bigger building every year. And so that's what we're really working on and trying to accomplish. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Next, we have Social Committee.
Good afternoon. I'm Diane Hazarin. I'm representing the Social Committee. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who attended the farewell party. We had a full house, and I think everyone had a fabulous time. If you did miss it, you can tune in to Channel 102 and see some photos of those people that were there. The next thing that we have coming up is on May 7th. It will be the Kentucky Derby. If you haven't been here for this, this is an annual event for us, and actually it's the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby. We start out with a decorated golf cart parade. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, what you would need to do is reserve your golf cart at the pro shop, not before April 28th. And then you pick it up, decorate it, and report back here at 3:30 where you'll be judged, and the parade will begin. So the parade goes through all the streets in Royalwood, and if you're not in it, you're going to have just as much fun watching it, because I've seen some of these neighborhood block parties that form, and they have a great time. The prizes will be given at the party that will then form up at the clubhouse. We'll open the doors at 5. We will have wagering, and we will have a hot hat contest for the females, which we will also have prizes for. And we will have dinner, and it should be a great evening. We'll have the Kentucky Derby on the screen right here. We could use some help. So if anybody would feel like they would like to judge the cart parade, please see me. Or if you'd like to help in some other way, please see any member of the Social Committee. This is not it for the summer, though. For those of you that stay behind, we are going to attempt to run 2 events, one in July and one in August. So there will be something for you to do all summer. Thanks so much again for all your support.
Thank you, Diane. All right, next on the agenda is old business, and I don't believe there is any old business. Nope. Okay, new business, the approval of the Elks Club tournament request. You want to do that?
Certainly. As the Golf and Greens Committee is well aware of and voted at on their last committee meeting, the Elks Club contacted, actually it's a member who contacted Royalwood to see whether or not the Royalwood would host their golf outing in June. Greg outlined the details. That particular function is basically a golf only. There's no food and beverage associated with that event whatsoever, as they will be returning to the Elks Club for their food and beverage portion of and for food and beverage function of that. The price that was given to Elks Club was $42 per person, if I'm not mistaken. 40. How much? No, that's their tickets might be for Elks Club. We're charging, I believe, $42. We're charging $42 per person for the event. The Golf and Greens Committee approved that at the committee level, and at this time, I'd like for somebody to make a motion to approve it and then second it so we can go ahead with this booking. Correct. I believe it's on a Sunday in late June. Third Sunday in June, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be a shotgun start. They're gone by noon. And if there's any play that's available for, because they don't have enough players, then obviously Greg would allow them to jump in and play 18 holes from a member perspective.
So it's a morning shotgun.
That's correct.
26th.
Thank you. So if they have 100 players, you're talking about $4,200 in cart fees.
All right, so does anybody would like to make a motion to approve this function?
I make a motion to approve.
Any seconds?
Second.
Ryan, second. All in favor?
Discussion first?
Oh, okay.
Discussion first? I am one that's not a big proponent for people come using our golf courses, then refusing to use our facilities afterwards. Kyle, did you ever talk to them and see if they were interested in having their after-golf party in here at all?
No, I have not reached out to them and said, hey, why don't you come in and do this? I think the reason for the Elks Club doing it is because they have a bunch of volunteers who, cook their hamburgers and hot dogs and do all of that type of stuff. But I'm more than happy to reach out to them and say, why don't we what would it take to do full turn? As we very well know, at the Elks Club and the other various organizations like that, fraternal organizations, they're selling a bottle of Budweiser for $1.50, and that's a real big deal. I certainly wouldn't want to be in a situation where, in an effort to get the Elks the business, that I would deeply discount our beverage side of the program. So I am going to contact them to see whether or not I'd like to go ahead and have a beverage card available. And to be honest with you, I do not need their permission to have a beverage card available. I can just have one available and sell that food and beverage. But the shotgun start is, I'm assuming it's going to be an 8 o'clock shotgun start. So, but I haven't reached out to them to say, hey, we wouldn't mind getting a slice of your food and beverage portion of it, which I'm more than happy to do. There's plenty of time.
Okay, because I have a couple concerns always with outside outings, especially with fraternal organizations. A lot of times they will bring their own alcohol in, and we have to absolutely make sure that this does not happen. And also, would have to have strong rangers out there, because once again, these are not members of our club, they're guests. And my history with golf outings at my club back in Illinois, they're not too kind to the golf course. That's another concern that I have with an outside outing. And the third thing, when these people come and play our golf course, then throw their clubs in the trunk and slam it and drive away, I think it's insulting to our club that they won't use our facilities for the after party. So I probably will not be voting to approve this. I think we're setting a precedent here for any future people that want to come here and have an outing in off season, that we have a wonderful restaurant and a bar right in the building, and this should be the place they should use afterwards.
Yeah, following up on those comments, I completely agree with you on that. That we would not even consider any future golf outing if it wasn't the full Monty, food and beverage, the whole package. So I concur with you on that statement.
Kyle, do we have a lot of Elk members in this community?
I don't know. I do know of somebody who's on
Is there anybody on the board or anybody who works for us or employee that's an Elk member?
I know. No, I was a member of a different club than Elks. But I know that there's a member on the Golf and Greens Committee that is a member of the Elks. And I believe he said that there are other Royalwood members that are members of the Elks as well. But I don't have any hard number on that whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm kind of against it because it's going to start something.
Well, the way that the program would work is and the way it goes, anybody that wants to do any type of outside function, it needs to be generated. The first request has got to come up into my office. This particular member who happened to mention something to Greg, and Greg basically was like, well, we're always looking for functions, et cetera, et cetera. And that's been, this is the first one ever that we've actually done since I've been here. And then before you know it, that particular member took advantage of saying that this was going to definitely go, and went ahead and put a flyer out and sent it out. And we hadn't even confirmed it yet.
Well, if this is a private club, unless there were a certain percentage of members who were members of Elks, right? I don't see where it's appropriate for us to have this tournament possible abuse of the golf course or any of that to happen.
So when it comes to the, we would have 2 on the front and 2 on the back 9 patrolling during the tournament, which will provide ample coverage.
At whose expense?
Well, that'd be at the club. I mean, we would, obviously would have our rangers, our rangers out there, just like we normally do. But I mean, the event, and I've got no love affair with the Elks Club by any stretch of the imagination, but it is generating the income for that, and that's going to be basically about the only expense, so.
What is the difference? What would the cost for us to run that tournament be? What would your cost be? So you generate $4,200 worth of revenue, right?
What do you mean, what would the cost?
Well, I mean, how much would it cost us to have them come and use the golf course? I mean, you have your rangers, you have a cost associated with that, correct?
Yeah, but we would have, I mean, the golf course will be open that day anyways. So, I mean, it's not as if you're still going to have your pro shop staff in, you're still going to have cart barn.
Cost neutral, but it brings in $4,200. It brings in 100 players that wouldn't be here.
That's correct. That's correct.
And it's in June, and it's a slow time of the month, or is it really busy through the summer months?
No, I mean, we all know that it's a slow time of the month. And just like everybody else, they want to do a morning shotgun because it's, 99 degrees out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, I would say you might have, it all depends on the weather, but, I don't know, 30, 40, So it's tough to
So
gauge.
if we had 30, 40, 50, you're guessing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That would be loss of that revenue compared to what we're making.
It all depends. So if they wanted to go ahead and join say that there wasn't enough players for a full shotgun start for the Elks, and if a member, whether it's a summer member or whether or not it's a regular member, said, well, we have a shotgun start, you're more than happy to jump in on that so that you can play, you're more than happy to, okay? That would be the case, and that would be the one condition that we would do.
But the Elks would have first choice.
Yeah, so the Elks would send over how many people they have, and if they have 5 foursomes that they can't fill, then we would go ahead and allow that to be for member play and
So it's
summer member.
not going to be that big of a moneymaker if you account for the amount we're going to lose if it's filled up by Elks.
Yeah, I guess the question is whether or not that because of the particular tournament, are they just picking a different day, or are they just going to cancel altogether? And that's for you that play regularly. That's a decision that you would have to make.
Kyle, the issue I have is not necessarily with this particular request, but I think it's similar to the casino night, in that the procedures for making these decisions need to be clearly laid out, so decisions aren't being made before it goes through the full governance process. So, the fact that they went ahead and started selling tickets for this before the board even had an opportunity to discuss this, it's embarrassing. And we need to have tight procedures in place, so when these things come up again, that we have all of the appropriate information to make an intelligent decision.
So, I'm more than happy to draft that. As you very well know, you know, it was always a situation of, oh gee, if we can get outside functions in the summer and wedding receptions and things like that, but of course, nothing's ever happened. Obviously, we were closed for a year and a half, and it was COVID and stuff like that, but staff will draft a policy for whether it be just a food and beverage outside function, or whether or not it would be a golf with a food and beverage function. The policy would be stated that any golf function to be entertained by the Board of Directors for approval shall also consist of the accompanying food and beverage, whether it be a lunch, if you're playing a morning shotgun, or whether or not you're playing a afternoon shotgun. It shall be accompanied by by a banquet of some sort to be chosen and worked on by the club. So that, because the reality is that we want to go ahead, especially during the summertime, if we can get some of those functions, things of that nature, then we want them to know what our policy is. So when it does go to the full board, all of those, for lack of a better word, those procedures on how this lead got generated and what they've attained is all clearly been established, and the board can easily sit there and say, okay, well, this clearly follows it, and it's on a Saturday night in August when we're not open, so of course we want to go ahead and accept this wedding reception, for example. So we will get that drafted for this board.
And I would suggest including in that a complete profit and loss estimate too, or projection.
Yeah, we can do the projection. What's even better is that we would do that cost analysis after the function as well. Here's the actual revenue, after expenses that came in.
I'm absolutely offended by the cost of this thing. I think you're giving the club away. At a bare minimum, this should be at least a $70 round of golf for these people. How much do we pay for a cart? We're giving it away. And also, they should have to have event insurance for their organization should something happen either on the grounds or if they damage the golf course. They
Yeah.
should have event insurance.
That was discussed at the Golf and Greens Committee, and that will be ensured that they do have the proper insurance.
$42 is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount.
So that is, I believe, is the reciprocal rate, if I'm not mistaken. But at the board's desire, if we wanted to increase that, and we wanted to go ahead and approve the event, but at a different rate, then the board has that right to go ahead and determine that and say, here's the deal. Take it or leave it. That's fine.
Does the board know that it's also Father's Day? You may have a lot of fathers coming in, with people that live here already, and that we may have more golfers ourselves.
Or you're going to have a lot of inexperienced golfers playing with their father tearing up our course.
They don't want to play with a stranger.
All right, is there any more discussion amongst the board?
I withdraw the motion.
Okay, it's already been made and seconded. I'm not familiar with the process now.
At this stage of the game, you just call for the vote.
All right.
If it fails, it fails.
Okay. All right, all in favor of this golf outing on the 26th from the Elks Club? Say aye. All opposed? Nay. Does not carry. Motion does not carry.
Very good.
Okay, next we have the approval or ratification of the approval of the Yamaha cart lease. The Yamaha cart lease is going to take effect either in September or October when we get the carts. The cart lease was signed, and we just want to ratify the signature or the approval of that lease signature. So, do I have a motion to ratify the cart lease?
I'll make a motion, we ratify the cart lease I know some of you sitting here, we've done this before. However, when we had to renegotiate and get the year newer model carts with the lithium batteries compared to the first original proposal we had, it required a new contract, and we had to clean up some language changes in the new contract with some concerns the board had. So that's why we're doing this again. But I do make a motion to accept and make this proposal go forward.
Any seconds? Second. All right, Rick seconds. Any discussion?
How much would it increase the card fees for the members?
Hang on a second.
Well, it's projected. We haven't said it. We'll set that in October with the budget, but what we're looking at probably is a $1 increase. But once again, realize that these will be brand-new cards with GPS systems provided inside them. It'll be very beneficial to the community, and it'll increase and enhance the golfing here at Royal Wood.
Increase the golf cart fee by $1. All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the docket is food and beverage discussion. What I'd like to do is to just talk about, things that you're hearing from your constituents. This is members of the board only, please. Things that you're hearing from your constituents about the feedback you're getting on the food and beverage operation here at the club. So anybody can jump in.
Yeah, Kyle, at our last meeting, I was wondering what the cost with the tip of 18%, and you were having trouble. I've heard that we're still having a lot of buffets and stuff, and most of the members I talked to would like to get it a little bit more upscale. And
Correct.
did you ever get the answer to what an average would be for what we are paying with their tips, because we're having trouble getting servers?
Well, the good news is that as we've, the last couple of weeks, we've brought on more servers. So some of the buffets were already basically scheduled. For example, the Easter stations was the way that we were going to do that. But the trend, we're in a very, very good position right now in staff levels in the kitchen and with the wait staff on that. So there will be there's no love affair with putting in the buffet. So you'll be finding far more a la carte dining as we go through, obviously, the summer and as we go through into the fall and we reopen, full time in the evenings. So it won't be the consistency.
Could we have that information of how the tips are being split up and what it works out to our servers?
Yeah, so when you talk about the gratuities, so so for example, there are some functions where the staff decide to go ahead and pool the gratuities, okay? And then on many, many evenings where it's strictly a la carte dining, like on a Friday night and tables and stuff like that, then there is no tipped gratuities. Excuse me, there are no pooled gratuities. They earn basically, those tables that they waited tables on for that evening. And the same goes with Janet at the bar. And the Janet pays out, and they pay into the bar for the service bar aspect of it. Pretty standard policy in most food and beverage operations. So I don't know what, yesterday I think they did pooled gratuities yesterday for the Easter function. So the way that works is there's a total pot of gratuity that's collected, and then each server, based upon the amount of hours that they worked for that particular day, get their cut.
A couple clubs that I've had the opportunity to eat at, the staff seemed a lot more professional. Okay? And I was wondering if they were making a lot more money. That's why I'm asking you.
Oh.
If they were making a lot more money than our staff, and that's why they have that professional attitude.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. You probably are talking about more of a club that has a very seasoned veteran team that's been in there year in and year out, season after season, and they're very well oiled. They know their members. They're very strong in their service skills, and that's why. And it reflects in the service level that that you get at the club. So there is benefit, as everyone realizes, that as long as your team is staying together and they keep working together and working together and working together, they become more cohesive and they become stronger in their positions. We were not necessarily in a position when we were taking a look at for employees to make sure that they had a high level of service experience to be able to bring them on board. And our position was we're gonna not looking for any type of experience, don't get me wrong, but what we're looking for is personality, and we're looking at just how they basically operate. Are they outgoing? Do they seem friendly? Do they want to be in this business and do that? And then we can go ahead and really start to work on the fine-tuning of training and how you set down meals and you serve from left to right and you clear a different way. Where should you position yourself when there's only two people at the table to take their order? How you should not be behind them, making them overlook your shoulders. You should be in front of them in some of those details.
Yeah, but I've also noticed that when I've been in here at different times, the wait staff seems to be preoccupied, and they don't, like I just went and got an iced tea, and I'm sitting at the bar, and I made eye contact with the girl behind the bar, and I finally had to wave to her, and I pretended to, I said, was I, like, you couldn't see me? So I went down low, is that why I'm not getting my iced tea? And other clubs I've been at, because I was a member of another club, and I have friends in other clubs, and I dine there pretty regularly. They just seem so much more attentive to the clientele, and I don't know if that's how our people have been trained, or if it's we're not paying them enough to get that quality of people.
Well, I mean, we did give the staff, the hourly staff, a pay rate increase. We continue to be competitive. There's a wage survey that's going out now amongst the other Sarah clubs that I'm a part of, as they're getting ready, just like we will for our 2023 budget. That's saying, okay, everybody, what are you talking about increasing your wait staff to, and your busboys and your food runners and things of that nature?
Who's responsible for training our wait staff?
That'd be Laura's responsibility as the food and beverage director to train them.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm going to on top of you, Mark, there a little bit. As most of you don't know, I've been in the hospitality, bowling alley, restaurant business my whole entire life. One of the biggest things I see as a miss here is the lack of hello, goodbye, thank you from servers, bussers, waiters, and that's important, whether we're private or not. That's an important concept of, Mark, what you're getting to is friendliness and feeling welcome that I really need to see more of here. It's also, as you're waiting to get a drink, acknowledgement. You know, Mark, Brian, hey, I'll be right with you. I don't see enough of that here either. Mark, you're also in a corner, and you gotta wave them down. That's just poor training, and that needs to be addressed.
Very fair comments. Thank you.
Kyle, we've had some good reports for the food quality over here, and we have had almost twice or three times as many poor reports of poor quality. What are we doing to address that issue?
Well, I will tell you that you know, I think we've hit far more very, very positive functions for the food than we've hit negative. I know that
I'm not talking about functions. I'm talking about everyday food.
Well, I think that that's going to be just a good situation for Chef to get basically re-energized and refocused, take a look at our menus, and be able to dedicate some more focus on his part, to that.
Have you ever thought of hiring a consulting company to help?
No, I have not had that conversation with him.
Have you thought about it?
No, I have not had that conversation with
Could you
anybody.
think about it and see how much it would cost to get a good consultant to help him?
Yeah, certainly, I can get, I can get costs for anything, that's for sure, there's no doubt.
Also, Kyle, who's oversees the food and beverage?
Well, Laura oversees the front of the house, and Chef oversees the back of the house.
Okay, the master chef.
Correct.
Okay. Do you think he should report to the board every month to come in, like we have the golf committee and different committees, and report what he's doing to improve it, so we understand it instead of having it being an ongoing thing?
Well, I tell you, if that was the case, it'd be the first time in my club career that's ever been done. I'm not saying that the board can't request that and would appreciate that. I don't think that's a problem. Maybe it's a situation where, like we did last summer when we were working through things, is that the president appoints a board liaison to work with me and talk with, our chef, whatever it might be. But having the chef in the, coming out into a board meeting, into a public meeting on a monthly basis and doing that would be highly, it just, like I said, it'd be the first time in my entire career that a club did that.
How about Laura and yourself discussing with us what the changes we're making every month to see the improvement?
Yeah, I'd be far more comfortable in that. I mean, the situation is getting the feedback on an instant basis so that we can do that, and we can be addressing that. So it's really much more of getting the feedback quickly. Staff not saying goodbye or anything like that. I would assume that every time that you get your check presenter, that if you're dining at the table, they say thank you very much and have a nice evening and things of that nature. But let me speak with Chef and Laura, and let me, Correct.
Posted what's being changed to make this place better.
Sure, I have no issue with that.
Kyle, I have been a proponent of having a restaurant committee, and you don't seem to want one.
Well, yeah, we have a social committee, and typically that's what clubs do, is they have a social committee. So,
No,
but
excuse me, never mind what the other clubs do. What do you think? Should we have a restaurant committee or not?
I've had good restaurant committees, and then I've had restaurant committees that basically have done nothing but consider their own personal interests and their desires in how they want to do it. So if the board was so inclined to put together a restaurant committee, then it would have to be a selection of candidates that have for lack of a better word, the right spirit of why they're serving on a restaurant committee.
Yeah, if they have the right experience, would you be supportive of?
Yeah,
that?
if they, I certainly would. I'm not opposed to it, because I certainly want to continue the trend for outstanding food and beverage experience. It's just making sure that the committee is on there for the right purposes, and that would be within its mission statement. You know what I mean? It's just selecting the right people for the right reason that want to go ahead and
The
get involved.
objective of the committee would be to help the kitchen in the front of the house.
So, which is wonderful. So, but for, so I'll give you an example. Ryan would be perfect because Ryan has a lot of food and beverage experience. So he can talk the language of food and beverage. So, and I'll give you a little bit of a side example. In my world, with the club has started interior decorating committees, et cetera, and all the members that are on the interior decorating committee, they know nothing about interior decorating. They just know that they hired an interior decorator, but now they're going to advise the club on how the club should do it. So that's my point. You need somebody that has a food and beverage background that chef can relate to, so that when we're talking about food cost and menu mix and all those various things, that is the talk of the food and beverage, that people understand that. That's all.
Well, Brian has the experience, I have the experience. So if a couple of more people like Brian and myself were on the committee, would certainly be a big help to this.
I support what the president supports.
before we come to the issue of the committee, how about, what do you think about continuing with the ad hoc meetings we had last summer?
Well, if there's going to be a restaurant committee, then you wouldn't need two separate groups.
I agree, but I'm saying if we don't have a restaurant committee or we can't decide right now, can we continue?
I've got no issue with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or
Yes,
comments?
Dennis, I have a few that haven't been mentioned yet. And I believe we talked about some of these at the budget meeting, Kyle, but the hours of operation.
Correct.
A lot of feedback on having people down and want to bring them to dinner on a Monday night or Tuesday night and the club is closed. So I've received a lot of feedback that we need to consider extended hours of operation. Now, obviously, there's costs associated with that we're going to have to evaluate, but I did want to pass that along. Also,
You're talking in season, right?
yes, primarily in
okay.
season, yeah. And then the ad hoc changes to the hours of operation, where people have come up at a time that the clubhouse is supposed to be open, only to find the doors locked. So I'm not sure the frequency of that, but I have heard on a few occasions where people have experienced that.
Yeah, so then the way to address that is from a staff perspective that says, okay, so listen, say it's a Thursday night and it's 8 o'clock and the place is empty, for example. Everybody's gone home and whatever it might be. So typically what happens is that they would close. But the directive could be, no, we close at 9 o'clock and you'll just have to sit here, till 9 o'clock and then you can close the doors. That's really just more of a policy change, even though we know it costs us money because you have to have, you got to keep a bartender, you got to keep, your kitchen, you have kitchen people to come on in, so, I mean.
I understand. It's
Right.
just that when people come and they expect it to be open and it's not open, they're not pleased.
That's fine. I've got no issue with that.
Overuse of buffets, I think we've heard a lot of that.
Mhm.
And, use them when it's most appropriate, but it shouldn't be the normal course.
Yeah, unfortunately, this particular season, it was a needed necessity. I mean, from a staffing perspective and from a kitchen perspective, it's a tremendous amount of work to be setting them up. We start early in the afternoon on that. It's far easier, obviously, to do a la carte service from that. But we feel very, very good heading into the new year that, buffets will not be. Obviously, we'll continue to do with the buffets on Wednesday nights. We'd have no problem doing plateds on that. So we'll try and convert basically, at least on general a la carte member functions, to much more a la carte.
The last item is the quality of service. Unlike some of the other board members, I've actually received compliments on most of the wait staff and how friendly they are and that they do a good job. Yes, there are opportunities for improvement. Speed of service when you sit down takes time to get a drink, but overall, the feedback I've received is that they're generally pleased with the staff that is on board now, with the opportunity to now accentuate their abilities and get them trained.
Right. And so what we need for the drink service to come back a little bit quicker is we need, and we talked about it at the finance meeting, is we need to get that definite swing bartender so that Janet can work the front bar and the service bar can be worked. So that'll be critical, and we'll identify that position so that when we extend our hours, if I could find somebody right now, I would go ahead and do so, just because for the summer as well, for the 3 nights a week that we're open. So that position is still out there.
That just triggered one other area that I've heard some feedback on, and that is the point of sale system impacting their ability to serve on a more timely basis? The amount of time they're having to enter orders into the system, can that be expedited to help improve the service?
No, I mean, not that I'm aware of whatsoever. I mean, the Jonas point of sale system is widespread throughout the club industry. It's very widely accepted. It's very user friendly. You have to remember that it does take some time to get your hands around that system, just like any other system. That point of sale system. So it's not necessarily that. There has been a conversation of going ahead and getting the touch tones where you basically can order, you know, and do all of that type of stuff on that. So I think one of the challenges that we have is that when you have, you know, obviously we have a lot of large parties, a lot of 8-tops and 6-tops and things like that. So if you have an 8-top and a 6-top and a 6-top in your station, and you're going around and getting the orders, you can imagine how much time that takes to go ahead and get the orders, and then head over to the point of sale system and put in that 8-top, put in that 6-top, and put in that 6-top. It does take some time, but I don't think it's a reason for us, and I don't know of any tools out there other than going to a handheld unit, which then communicates, if that might save any time. Don't know.
Okay, anybody else?
Just a couple things. One of the biggest, I guess you call it a complaint, is that our lunch menu stayed pretty much the same from November all the way through now. And the only thing that really changes on it's the daily special, which is usually the highest priced lunch item there is, because usually most of the daily specials are $14. So a lot of the membership, I'd like to see the menu turn over a little bit more during season, you know, especially for lunch. And they also I think it would be a great idea to see more of a daily special. Rather than $14 for the special sandwich of the day, have something for $9 or $10, get people coming in here and having a couple drinks afterwards. When I'm here in the fall, I play a lot of reciprocals. My wife and I both do. And they always have some type of golfer special that'll include a beer or a glass of wine when you come there and play their club. In fact, a couple of clubs I played this fall, in the pro shop, they say, hey, do you want to go in for the lunch special afterwards? It's $10 and you get a free beer or a glass of wine with lunch. I think that we could promote more people to come into the club after golf with seasonal play and summer membership play and reciprocal play to get more people in the club. Because you know how one beer will lead to 2 beers, which will lead to 3 beers, and the cost of a draft beer, what we charge for it will be very profitable for the club.
So I appreciate those comments, and that's exactly the conversation that I had with Laura and Chef. So the drink specials that I was talking with you about, we're going to pair those up with a lunch special, so that when you do come into the club, especially if you're a reciprocal, whatever it might be, it's going to say, okay, do you want the lunch package, you know, and the golf shop can charge for it right away.
Kyle, also one of the complaints I've had, and other people told me, is the bread. If you go out to any place, the delis or anything, they have a good crusted bread on their sandwiches. It doesn't get all soggy and fall apart. And I've asked them, as I've been around about 4 different places, and they use Naples Bakery is the secret. That's where the good bread comes from.
Okay, thank you very much.
Kyle, could you help us send up an email to the membership to find out people who are qualified in the restaurant business who would like to join a committee if we form one?
Sure.
And then Brian and I, or anybody else, could take a look at those people and see where we can go from there.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Kyle, I also want to address just some issues. Again, you know, we run these specials all summer long to get people in the door. You know, we come in here November, December, this time of year, sometimes even in season. Monday, Tuesday, we're closed. Why aren't these specials being used in season to keep people and get people to come into the place? The membership here is looking for obviously better hours, but I think better specials, better deals, happy hour maybe a few days a week. You got to get people in the door to make $1 first. If nobody walks in, we make 0. 10 people at $1 is $10. That's still better than 0. I live in Amherst. I see this building 7 days a week when I'm here, and when I see 30 people come out of this parking lot after dinner in a night, and there's 300 or 400, coming off the street off a Rattlesnake, we have a problem. We need to have more people stopping at our restaurant and find a way to make people want to come to this restaurant and bar. There's too much, in my opinion, and I've done this my whole life, it bothered me in my business if I seen people going toward my competitor. I changed. I did something different. I think that needs to happen here.
Okay,
This is all lists of complaints that I've got for membership, and we've had some feedback with emails. Jamshed, myself, it's gone back and forth to the committee. We've all had some copies of some of these things. And nobody ever wants to really get up and say something and get a little more nasty. There needs to be changes here, and just to say this is just the way they all do it down here, in my book, that's a poor answer.
No.
We want change, and we deserve change. We all are part owners of this place. We want to come in here. But it's weird why we all go somewhere else. We need some answers to that.
Well, as you know, I'm very open-minded to any and all suggestions. I have no issue with, with doing that. I'm all for Royalwood having an outstanding food and beverage experience, every time that we're here. On the board's position will be to support, what that financial implication is, because there's another group out there, as you very well know, being at the finance meeting that we just had last week, that says, oh my gosh, look at that subsidy for the food and beverage operation. You should go ahead and open it up to the public. So this is all a philosophy issue for what this club wants to do. As you very well know, we can continue to keep food prices very low, and beverage prices very low. But the concept is, okay, how much do the membership want to pay? Because you're going to, as you very well know, the membership doesn't matter what the amenity is. You can pay the club now, or you can pay the club later. Some clubs have that philosophy that they would just as soon pay it later in their annual assessment. Okay, and that's the philosophy that the board has, that the membership has said. So they want their menu prices and their beverage prices to be just put it in my dues. Whatever that assessment is, put it in my dues. And that's just more of a philosophy change, more than anything on what we want to do. But yeah, it's a very, very tough fine line to balance what the subsidy should be, versus, what the prices should be. But I'm more than happy to be part of that discussion and be open-minded about that, especially as we are gearing through for the new budget year.
okay. I personally am not a big fan of large committees. I think too many chefs spoil the broth. So I'm not in favor of getting a restaurant committee. But what I am in favor of is setting up a restaurant advisory board. This board would consist of 3 board members: Jamshed, Mark Spadola, Brian. These 3 people would constitute a restaurant advisory board that would report to the master board. The advisory board should collect feedback from their constituents and others, as well as other board members, to develop some recommendations to be reviewed and discussed at board meetings. This group should develop a survey of the membership, have their input for what they are expecting from the restaurant, such as food preferences, happy hours, hours of operation, Sunday brunches, etc. They should meet with the manager of the departments of the restaurant to discuss how we can improve the operation. These meetings should be arranged with Kyle. The advisory board will make no decisions. The primary objective for the advisory board is to make recommendations to the master board. One of the primary objectives of the master board is to have this restaurant operation to be one of the best amenities for our membership. That's my recommendation.
Well said.
Well done.
Does anybody object to that, or all in favor of that, or do we need a motion for that? I know it's not a real vote.
No, it's not a real vote. I
No.
mean, if you have any objections, you're the
Yeah.
president, so you want to,
Yep.
just like you're
If
doing.
anybody would like to object on the board, just let me know, tell me.
Edith, can I help you? I'll get that, Edith. Here.
Okay, the next order of business is the approval of the committees for next year, which was submitted to the board. And I'd like to know if anybody would like to make a, there's- there's not, there's only one board member that's a liaison to each committee, that's it. You cannot be on the committee, no, sorry. All right. Anybody, the committees, anybody have any discussion or?
I make a motion that we formalize and approve the standing committees that have been proposed to us for the coming season.
Any second?
Dennis, what about the advisory board? Is that an official committee that needs to be added, or is that outside of the standing committees?
That's outside of the standing committees. Anybody want a second? Rick, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carry. The last thing we have is open forum. Excuse me. We have Doreen Barad from Andover.
Thank you. My name's Doreen Berard. My husband and I just bought last year, so I have a lot of questions. Probably they've already been answered, but I can't seem to find them anywhere. First one, why is the summer golf program only limited to 70? Is there a reason why we cap it at 70? Especially when we were just discussing that we're turning people away.
Just to make more course availability for the members.
Has there been any research done as there hasn't been member availability during the summer to maybe warrant bringing that to 80, 90? Or 100. I'm just asking why 70 was set, and if that's the reason, has there been any further research and investigation as to members not being able to play?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Few months ago, last year sometime, I can't remember the exact time, I talked to Greg Long, and he reviewed the open times available during the summer. And he determined that if he had 100 summer members, it would not materially impinge on the members' time. So this is something the board may have to consider. We're in October, in our budget meetings. We'll consider that in the budget meetings in October.
Great, thanks.
Doreen, part of the issue too is it really isn't just a summer membership that goes until December 31st.
So
And
it
there are a lot of
overlaps.
people here in November and December that's where I think the issue comes into play.
Okay. The other question I had was the health and safety, those seminars that were done over the summer. Is there a cost for those? They're free? Oh, okay, great. Then I don't have to ask my next question. There is a $4,000 line item for training under the food and beverage. Do we have any idea what that training consists of? And would that be part of the SNU Restaurant Advisory Board? We seem to have a lot of conversation around training of the staff, and in 2021, there was a $4,000 line item associated with it, so we might want to look at what that training consists of and see if it's something that. I also, for those of you that don't know, I work for a startup company called Moo.com, and I specialize in HR hiring, training, and firing. So if you need help in writing processes and policies, I'm probably the person you want to look to, so I'll happily raise my hand. The last one, I got to go back to the hiring. We seem to be very reactive than proactive. We talked about having buffets because we didn't have the staff. Is there any way that we can get hiring and job descriptions on the website, LinkedIn, maybe put a budget line item in for doing Indeed, Monster.com? We seem to be in a good position now, but if the fall things are going to be picking up again and people are leaving, I don't know what the attrition rate is here, people coming and going, but we want to be a little bit more proactive rather than reactive. So, like, I don't know what we can do to get that on there, but if the staffing issue and having buffets is associated to that, we want to get a little bit ahead of that. So I don't know what the process would be to get, jobs out there listing on the website, because Friday's meeting was Kyle's handing out business cards, and that may have been good back then, but there's better ways to do it.
So, Doreen, I'm more than happy. Are you a year-round resident?
No, I'm not.
When
That's
you-
why I'm really pushing for
When are
Zoom as well.
When are you leaving?
I actually don't even live here full-time. I rent, and then I come in vacation and use it, so I'm
Okay.
pretty much here every month for like a week.
Okay, because I'd be more than happy to meet with Debbie and I, and we're more than happy to roll through, because we do use Indeed. We've used Monster. We've done all of those aspects. So your experience would be good, but we're more than happy to share with you, what our experience is. What we have found out more is that there are less and less people that are interested in getting into becoming a server or a bartender. They're established, but I'd be more than happy to share with you what we've done, and then you put your polish on that and say, okay, well, here's what I think we want to peel away, and let's head down into that road.
That'd be great.
Okay, but
Yep.
my pleasure.
Yep. And I think that was it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. The second and last open forum person is Ray Fern.
I've got to say, I've been here quite a few years, and I've never seen a better active board of directors than I sat here and listened today. I love to have you guys talking and expressing what you want to do, and I think you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Ray.
One last item. For the gentleman here telling about they're going to send surveys and costs, make sure those costs are good. And let the people know what these things are really going to cost. And we don't want to happen what happened in renovation 2, where we give one price and it's 50% higher. Give us the cost. We'll be willing to pay for it, but just let us know exactly. Take time to make sure we get the right cost. Okay? Thank you.
All right, that's it for our agenda. Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Dennis, one question. Dennis, could you tell us who was appointed to the committees? You mentioned the committees were all,
It's like,
don't know who's on the committees, can you?
well, they'll be in the book. I mean, there's like 4 pages of them. On the
Yeah.
website as well, I guess.
Website as well, we can put it on.
All right, anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Rick Murphy makes a motion.
All right, Brian seconded. All in favor? All right.
advisory board you're talking
Yes, so I hope you're not offended that I put you on there.
about. In fact, you did a good job. Not offended, I think you did a good job.
I feel like I'm useful now.
Now, I know you can get your teeth into something.
Take care, guys. See you.
But that's okay. He doesn't have to be. He works for us. Okay?
Tell me how you really feel. I got thick skin, I can handle it.